Hi, I'm Gemma, and this is Gemma Reads Scripture. So, what you see in these videos is a better version than me. I went on Google and looked for ways to make myself look better. And one of the things that they said was not to have the computer down low because I use a laptop. And so, when you see me like that, you see what I really look like. So, if I put it up higher, sorry to wriggle, I look better. And I was looking in the mirror thinking, how would I put my mouth to get rid of that jiggly bit? And look what I found out. If I put my mouth like Donald Trump and I just talk like that all the time, I look much better. But maybe weirder. So I was at Mass last night, Saturday night, and it is Palm Sunday today. And the entrance antiphon I found quite interesting because they've kind of mixed up some readings. They had this big, long entrance antiphon. Anyway, I'm going to read it. 6 days before the Passover, when the Lord came into the city of Jerusalem, the children ran to meet him. In their hands they carried palm branches, and with a loud voice cried out, Hosanna in the highest! Blessed are you who have come in your abundant mercy. And then it goes on, O gates, lift high your heads, grow higher, ancient doors. Let him enter, the King of He, the Lord of hosts, he is the King of glory. Hosanna in the highest. Blessed are you who have come in your abundant mercy. Now the readings that it mixed up to make that are John 12:1 and verses 12 to 13, Psalm 23, 9 to 10. But the thing I found interesting about it was that it was children that were kind of lauding Jesus as he came into Jerusalem. But in the past, people have often said, the Jews welcomed Jesus in to Jerusalem 1 minute and waved palms and threw them before his donkey and all of that. And then the next they were crying, crucify him, crucify him. But I don't think that's the case. I think that it was not like that at all. And possibly a lot of the people that were happy to welcome him along were not the ones crying out, crucify him, crucify him. I mean, that does say in the Bible that the Pharisees and Sadducees were sort of like egging the crowd on to say, crucify him, crucify him. But I just don't think they were the same people. So might make you feel better about the human race. But when I actually went to check this Bible reading and my Bible, I've got 2 Bibles at home, neither one of them is quite to my satisfaction. But anyway, so 12:1 says, 6 days before the Passover, Jesus came to Bethany, where he had raised Lazarus, the dead man, to life. And there they gave a dinner for him, and while Martha waited on them, Lazarus who'd been raised from the dead, sat at the table with Jesus. Then Mary took a pound of costly perfume made from genuine nard and anointed the feet of Jesus, wiping them with her hair. So we know that story. And Judas complains about the waste of money. So then it goes on, it's verse 9 now, a large crowd of Jews heard that Jesus was there, and they came not only because of Jesus, but also to see Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead. So the chief priests, this is the so-called holy people, decided to kill Lazarus as well. For many of the Jews were drifting away because of him and believing in Jesus. So then it says, verse 12 to 13, I'm reading now, the next day a great number of pilgrims, so this is not the people living there, this is people who have come there as on a journey, who had come for the festival, heard that Jesus was on his way to Jerusalem. So they took branches of palm trees and went out to meet him, and they shouted, "Hosanna! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the King of Israel." And so it's a little bit different there. Then if I look over in this other Bible, so reading 12:1, 6 days before Passover, Yeshua, because this Bible calls him by presumably his correctly pronounced name, Yeshua, came into Bethany, where Lazarus was, whom Yeshua raised from the dead. And then it goes on with that little story about Mary and the perfume. And then this is now 12:12. The next day there was an enormous crowd which came to the feast. Because they heard that Yeshua was coming to Jerusalem, they took fronds of palm trees and came out to meet him. And they were crying out, "Hoshiana, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord, the King of Israel." So children, pilgrims, or a crowd who'd turned up for the festival. But it is interesting, isn't it, that we maybe don't dwell very much on that or think very much about it. You know, on Palm Sunday we have the palms and we hold them up and the priest blesses them, and you keep them all year, and then I think they burn them to make the ash for the next Ash Wednesday or something like that. So, but I suppose we do think about it, but we don't kind of really make much. I mean, I've seen pictures painted of that scene and everything, but the thing is that it just, I mean, it's only a little bit of Bible, but it brings to mind a very strong picture of a large number of people who definitely didn't want to say crucify him, I don't believe. There was a large number of people that were just so excited to see him and knew who he was and were aware of how great he was. It was that really struck me, that these were people who really recognised Jesus in his greatness. And even we believers, we can forget about how great Jesus is, even though he was a man and all of that. And he was the Son of God. He was a great person. And people don't usually do this sort of thing and celebrate somebody who's like maybe a strong leader, but they're a narcissist. They're a cruel person who's always doing whatever wrong they can do to somebody else. You know, they saw Jesus or heard about Jesus going around doing these things that all came under the banner of kindness, you know, mammoth kindness. And they loved him greatly, and they celebrated him greatly. And they knew even then, so many people, even at that time, what Jesus was. And so it's no wonder that Christianity spread so far, because it's gone to every single corner of the world. You know, there's not a place in the world that Christianity hasn't gone to. And so it's interesting, isn't it, how we kind of think, oh, how could that even happen? Because, you know, it was just a few people, but I think even during Jesus' time on earth, there were a lot of people who believed in him. And of course it went, you know, on spreading around through the disciples after that. But there would have been each of these individual people who, in their own little lives, in their own little homes and villages, that would have, talked about Jesus and spread that word themselves. So I just thought that was interesting. All right, bye for now.